You now tuned in to the Gumptown Podcast. I'm your boy Doug B. We ain't got nothing to talk about, but we got something to talk about. Let's go. Good people. Welcome back to the Gumptown Podcast, episode 65. I'm your boy Doug B. If you tuned in to this podcast, thank you for your time and your attention. I really appreciate you giving this podcast a shot. Today's guest, he is the founder and owner of Selah Therapeutics, LLC. I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I'm sure you all will be inspired by his story. Let's chop it up with Ezekiel Griffin. Zeke, how's it going, man?
All is well, Doug. How you doing today, sir? I'm doing good.
Glad to hear that, man. All is well on my end, too. First things first, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to chop it up with me a few minutes. I really appreciate it. Yes, sir. Of course,
Yes, sir.
Of course, we're here to talk about Selah Therapeutics, LLC. But before we go there, let's get to know the man behind the brand. What's your story?
Oh, man. What is my story? My story is, I've always had a passion for working with people. Didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do with that. But as I came up through the ranks of college, I started off as a chemistry major, biology major, got interested in therapy through being an athletic training student at Sanford University. I'm originally from California. That's where I was born and raised, and I came to the South by way of Tuskegee. I stayed there for about a year, and then I transferred to Sanford University in Birmingham. I got into the athletic training program there. Was excited. I was blessed enough to get an internship with the Buffalo Bills. Did a lot of athletic training with a lot of the colleges there locally, UAB, Jeff State, and at Sanford University. Long story short, graduated from there, worked at the Lakeshore Foundation there in Birmingham. Ended up moving to Mobile, worked there as a health and wellness advisor. And my wife wanted to go to law school, so we ended up coming to Montgomery with her aspirations of becoming an attorney. So she went to Jones School of Law. I enrolled into Alabama State to their occupational therapy program. Finished up there. Started working for multiple skilled nursing facilities locally here in Montgomery. Started doing home health, saw that there was a disparity with patients being discharged too quickly from some of these facilities that are out here providing services. And me and my wife got together, sat down, brainstormed, came up with some ideas, and decided to open our own private practice. So now we are here just reaching out to anybody that is debilitated in some form or fashion, whether it's through car accidents. We work with veterans, any kind of medical condition that causes debilitation where the patient can't walk. They may have difficulty reaching, grabbing, anything dealing with self-care that they cannot do. We rehabilitate that. We do that through the form of exercises, modalities. Modalities are therapeutic devices that we use to help expedite strengthening the tissues of the body to help expedite that process. And we do all that in addition to, like I said, the therapeutic exercises to help these patients or these individuals get back to being independent with self-care tasks. So that's where my passion is helping people, serving the community, serving people, loving on people, and helping them get back to things that make their quality of life great.
Wow, man, that's amazing, man. That's an amazing story, and I really commend that passion that you got for people, man, because that's really what it's all about, just helping the next person.
Yes, sir.
So let's back up a little bit. I know you say you're from Cali, and you made your way out here to Alabama. What were some of the cultural differences you noticed right away when you got out here?
It's not as diverse here as it is in California. In California, there's a lot of different cultures there: Indian cultures, Korean cultures, Asian cultures, Hawaiian cultures, Samoan. I mean, it's just a slew of different cultures there. It's basically a melting pot. But, of course, here, when I first moved here, it seemed to be just African Americans and Caucasians. But now it's kind of diversifying a little bit. The Indian population is increasing. The Asian population is increasing. And I think because here in Montgomery, because it is a hub for military bases, I think that kind of adds to it. And then with the new companies coming in, like Hyundai and some of the subsidiaries of it, bringing in different job opportunities and bringing companies in from overseas, that's what's diversifying a little bit more than what it was.
Yes, sir. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, man. Yeah, we definitely are growing in diversity, like you said, with the military and all that good stuff. So you attended Tuskegee. What was the HBCU
Yes, sir.
experience like for you?
Oh man, it was great. It was lovely, for me to be in it, like, but from different cultural backgrounds, meaning like different states across the U.S., but coming together for one accord to have the HBCU experience, bringing their own flavor to making that school what it is. It was great, man. I have no complaints about it at all. I hate that my experience was only a year, but when I first transferred to Sanford, I found myself coming back and forth to going to Tuskegee every weekend, man. So I had that cultural shock when I went up there, man. But it was awesome, man. I don't regret it not one bit. I love it.
Yes, sir. So from my understanding, there are no HBCUs out there. And well, first of all, what part of Cali are you from? Are you from LA?
No, sir. No, sir. That's a different state, man. I'm from the Bay Area. I'm from a small town called Vallejo. The Bay Area,
That's
man. A
funny,
small
man.
town called the Valley Joe. It's right. It's the last little city that you'll come to once you come across the water. So you leave out of San Francisco, Oakland, start going north towards Sacramento, and the last bridge you cross, that's my hometown, Vallejo, California.
Seven in a whole other state. So I know I've had conversations with people from LA, and there are no HBCUs out there. Is that the same for Valero? Where you from? No HBCUs out there?
No, sir.
Wow. So how did you get worried about Tuskegee? Were they like doing college tours or something like that?
Yeah, actually, I was in this after school program called the Tanner Project, and it was designed and set up for minorities who had inspirations to go to college, and more specifically HBCUs. We did visit some local colleges, but their emphasis was trying to get minorities into to the South or wherever there was HBCU college located that they were familiar with, that they would travel to every year during the spring. So long story short, man, we traveled all the way up to Morgan State on the East Coast, came down to Florida, and we'll come across to Alabama, Louisiana, and Texas, visiting schools, and even up into Tennessee and Kentucky. But because my mom is originally from Mobile, I figured, well, if I could get into a HBCU in Alabama, I kind of be in a home away from home. So when I went to Tuskegee, I kind of fell in love with it. The culture was awesome. It was great. And I applied and got accepted into the school during that college tour my senior year. And boom, that's what did it for me. But it was that Tanner Project program that was there in California that got me ignited and excited about the HBCU experience.
Okay, that's amazing, man. Shout out to Tanner Project for bringing you down to the South.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Selah Therapeutics, man. That's a very intriguing name. What inspired that name?
Well, that is a term that is in the Bible. You frequently see it in Psalms, the book of Psalms. You'll see Selah at the end of some of the passages that were there, and it basically means for you to meditate, to pause and reflect. So with therapy, what we try to do is write goals during the initial evaluation. So for me, that's the Selah. I want you to think about where you want to be when all of this is over. I want you to meditate on that. And then we're going to try to do everything we can to get there, collaborating together, working on rehabilitation techniques to get to that point where you see yourself. So again, me and my wife, we sat down and pondered what would be the name for this company, and that's what we came up with.
And that's a powerful name, man. And like I said, when I saw it, I was like, man, I know it has a deeper meaning. I knew it was biblical, but appreciate that breakdown, man. You made it make sense of me, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So in terms of course, we know the past couple of years we had the pandemic going on and things of that nature. So how was the business affected during the pandemic? How did you all pivot?
Well, we were lucky. Well, I can honestly say it was good for us because we were actually in the beginning phases of creating this business. And because of the pandemic, which for some was a bad thing, but for us, it was actually a blessing. A lot of the insurance companies were waiving their application fees. So when most people were spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get signed up to become a third party provider for people that needed rehabilitation, we were able to get in there without having to pay all those initial fees. We were able to make a lot of connections with some administrative people downtown to help us with our licenses and certifications, and just making connections with some local people that were in the business already during the pandemic. And we just had time to just sit down and talk with them, and things just started coming together. And like I said, even though the pandemic was going on, people still needed health care. People still needed to get their bodies strengthened. People were still having strokes. And as you know, the COVID was causing an exacerbation or an increase in the medical conditions that the person already had to become worse. So it was like it was a spike in the amount of rehabilitation people were needing, and there just wasn't enough people out there to treat the patients that needed the assistance. So we kind of jumped into it at the right time. And we just been riding this wave, man, just being blessed with the right people coming through our doors, continually making the right connections within the community with physicians, nurses, even some proctors and professors around the city. Well, of course, over at Alabama State. But it's been a blessing, man. It really has been.
Man, that's amazing. Like you said, you all were able to. It was a blessing in disguise for you all. I know it was a tumultuous time for a lot of people, man, and it was just it was a very uncertain time, man. So much respect to you all for pivoting throughout the pandemic, because I know a lot of businesses didn't make it. So
That's right.
I commend you.
Hallelujah, brother. Hallelujah.
Yes, sir. So whenever I have entrepreneurs on the platform like yourself, I like to cover three things: the aha moment, action, and audacity. I know you were saying, as far as your aha moment, you and your wife, you all were having a conversation and noticed there was a disparity in healthcare and things of that nature. So when exactly did y'all have that aha moment?
I would have to say it was probably about a year, probably about 2 years ago. And what was happening was with an employer I was working with, I had noticed that the insurance companies were not providing enough visits for rehabilitation. And they were basically just being given maybe 3 or 4 visits, and we had to cut them off. We had to discharge them. And if you know anything about somebody that may have been paralyzed or been in an accident or something where they needed rehabilitation for a lot longer than 1 week, 3 or 4 visits was not going to be enough. So no matter what I said or what I tried to do with convincing insurance companies, hey, look, this patient needs a little bit more help, they were saying, no, that's it. You have to cut them off. And it probably had a lot to do with the whole pandemic situation. They had an influx of patients that they had to put out money for to get rehabilitation, and it was overwhelming. So again, at the end of the day, once we looked at the numbers and just seeing how there was a disparity and where people were basically being discharged and sent home, and families didn't know what to do and in a panic, me and my wife just started brainstorming, like, what can we do to fill the gap that people are having after being discharged? And that's what we came up with, is let's open up an outpatient clinic where people could come straight to us after they leave the hospital, after they get done with home health services, and we could be an outpatient clinic that provides services within our clinic, and maybe potentially with enough employees and assistants, we can treat people within the home with that same ideology of bringing forth the right rehabilitation techniques to help them get back to a better quality of life.
Wow, that's powerful, man. And from the time y'all had the aha moment and decided to get started, how long did it take y'all to take action towards getting started?
Well, I would have to say it was immediately. My wife is an attorney by trade, and she's never been one to let me put an idea out there and not follow through with it. She's always telling me, man, you got to follow through. You got to follow through. So she jumped on it. She has a strong administrative mind where, once she sees stuff on paper, she's very meticulous. She's able to understand the language in different documents. So she was able to get all the paperwork together for us. And it maybe took maybe about 2 or 3 months, if not maybe shorter than that, but it was more so us waiting for stuff to come back for us to be cleared to be able to provide our services. You know what I mean? So like if Medicare was saying, okay, you guys signed up, but there's a process that you have to go through. You have to wait 30 to 50 days before we can officially say your company is recognized by us to be reimbursed for services. That was more so the holdup versus actually getting the name out there, getting all the credentials and getting the the tax ID numbers and things of that nature. So it like I said, once I put the idea on the table, me and my wife brainstormed about it, and she seen that I was serious about it. And once she gets on something, she's gung ho. She ran with it, man, and it only took us a little bit of time. Like I said, about 2 or 3 months to get it going.
Wow, man, that's amazing, man. Hats off to the missus for being that accountability partner. I can definitely relate. Them wives, man, they don't play no games. Oh, you got an idea? Let's get to it. What you waiting on?
Let's get to it. That's right. That's right. And they're gonna definitely exercise every aspect of your idea to make sure this is what you really, really want to do. It's not a play thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nah, that's amazing, man. That's so dope that y'all went right after it. Didn't spend a whole bunch of time over analyzing and overthinking. Got right to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My last portion is audacity. It takes courage and audacity to step out there and start your own. Who or what gave you that audacity to step out there?
I would have to say it was inspired by God, man. The Holy Spirit put it in my heart to open up a business, to help people. And it was just one of those things where it was a faith walk. And like I said, when you have a partner who supports you and is there to encourage you and get you going, man, it just made it even more worthwhile. So the audacity was the spirit of God combined with the marriage. Those three chords wrapped around each other is what catapulted it and made it work and go forward.
Powerful stuff, and nothing else needs to be added. That's amazing.
Yes,
So,
sir. Yes, sir.
sir. So Selah Therapeutics has done great things, and I know great things are coming down the pipeline, which leads to my next portion, vision.
Yes, sir.
What are your short-term and long-term goals for the business?
My short-term goals for the business is to really just get out there what occupational therapy is. A lot of people don't know. Occupational therapy is a rehabilitative technique that is geared towards, again, building up strength, upper body wise, lower body wise, core strength. It is something that looks at the entire body, and then all of that is encompassed in, okay, how can we translate that into making sure that you could dress yourself, making sure that you can bathe yourself, do all the self-care tasks, which in the terminology we use is being able to do self-care slash ADLs, things that have importance to the individual. And that's what occupational therapy does. We look at how can we improve a person's quality of life to help them becoming more independent so they're not dependent on caregivers or family members. So we do that through the rehabilitative techniques that we utilize. So that's what we're trying to do, is get that out there. Even though people know, everybody really doesn't know. All people really know about more so is physical therapy. So that's what we want to do. We want to get the name out there, get it branded Selah Therapeutics LLC. When people say, what is that? Then that's when the OT comes right behind that. And then we can kind of, let people know what occupational therapy is and let them know that we're not just limited to certain things. You have a hip replacement, if you have a shoulder replacement, if you have a knee replacement, we could do some of the same rehabilitative techniques that other therapists can do. And we provide quality services through our name.
Amazing stuff, man. And those long-term goals.
And long-term goals basically is for us to build on the brand and increase the amount of facilities that we have. We would love to expand and maybe get another building on another side of town, and maybe even go statewide and potentially across the nation.
Sounds good to me, though. That's a great long-term goal, and I have no doubt that you'll make it come to fruition.
Hey, to God be the glory, brother.
Yes, sir. So as we wrap up the podcast, I want to ask the $1 million question. I started this podcast because I wanted to highlight the greatness of Montgomery, whether you are from here or lived here for a significant period of your life. You being here from California and operating a business here, I want to ask you, what do you appreciate the most about the Gump?
What do I appreciate the most about the gum? I would have to say the camaraderie of the people that I've come across since I've been here. People have reached out, have been loving, caring. People have showed me how to serve other people. Just learning how to be a human being and loving everybody and not just yourself and your own selfish ambitions. That's what I've learned about Montgomery. And it's just the rich history that's here. You could take it and say, oh, the South is XYZ and it's so bad and whatever. But for me, coming from California, knowing the history there and then coming here and learning where a lot of this stuff started as far as African American history, it's been breathtaking, man. So Montgomery has really been a pillar in my life to help me reach I guess my I don't want to say my maximum capacity, but it's helped me reach some plateaus in my life that I've been trying to reach. It's made an impact in my life. It's made an impact in my children's life, and that's another thing, man. When I came here, our children were very young and we didn't know what school system we were going to put them in, and we were fortunate and blessed enough to where we were able to get them in the magnet school system, and they've all three of our children have come up through it and have done extremely well. So Montgomery has been nothing but great for us, man. It's been a great little hidden quiet city. A lot of times when you think of city, you want to go somewhere where it's popping. It's a lot of stuff going on, and that's cool. The cool thing about Montgomery is, guess what? It only takes about an hour to get to wherever that is you need, and then you could come here and be comfortable and safe, and not have to deal with a lot of traffic. So, like I said, Montgomery's been great for us, man.
That's all powerful stuff, man. Glad the
Yes,
Gump has treated you well.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So how can the people connect with you, Zeke? What are your social media handles and website?
We can be reached by telephone, obviously. Area code 334 593 4998, or you can reach out to us by email at Selah Therapeutics LLC 21 at gmail.com. That's SELAH Therapeutics LLC, the number 2, the number 1 at gmail.com. And you could actually look us up on YouTube as well, and you'll see some videos of some of the things that we've done with individuals within their home, and then also just kind of gives some descriptions of the services that we provide. But you'll get all that stuff at the website as well, and the website has links to the YouTube sites, has all the phone numbers, contact information, has some brief descriptions on the different types of therapeutic services that we provide, and just kind of gives us some insight on what we do.
Yes, sir. And of course, I'll put all of that contact info in the description of the episode. Hey, Zeke, thanks again for the conversation, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem at all, man of God. I just thank you for the opportunity. You and your wife have definitely been a blessing to us, and I'm grateful for you, man. But I want to give you one more plug, man, and I would love for you to allow my wife to come on the show. She just put a book out called Biblical Roots for Your Week. She's a young, inspiring writer, and she can be seen on YouTube. She could be seen Facebook and Instagram as God's Pupil, as GOD' Pupil, PUPIL.
Yes, sir. And I'll definitely coordinate with you, man, and just find out her availability, and we'll make it happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're here.
Yes, sir. But I'll definitely coordinate with you and get availability so we can schedule an interview. I definitely want to hear about the book.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. To God be the glory, brother. I thank you for your time, man.
Yes, sir. Good people. That concludes another dope episode of the Gumptown Podcast. We gone, but before we leave, remember, be blessed, be safe, but most importantly, have the audacity to be you. Gone. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate your time and your attention. Until next time.